Hello everybody, I believe we are live. 63 comments in the mixer already. Thank you everybody for your patience in waiting for us. Dave was finishing off with the Front Three podcast, and the internet is not strong enough here in Leipzig for us to have two things on the go at once, especially for streaming. Let me know in the comments if this is watchable, and if it's not, I don't really know what else we can do. So Dave can say hello.
Cheers guys, how's it going?
Dave's going to join us in a little bit. He's still doing a little bit of work. So he's still finishing up with what he needs to do, and then he'll join us as soon as he's sorted. Hopefully it's working for everybody. I'm not sure what's occurring with it all. So yes, I'll fill you in on what we're up to, where we've been, and how it's been, and how fucking cold it is, and all the rest of it. So on Friday I left Manchester. Is there no sound? Is the sound bad? Expect errors on this one. Okay, Simon says it's watchable. Nice one, mate. Right, so I left Manchester on Friday. I got on the train down to London, over to Stansted, where I met Dave. In fact, Dave. A very late Dave. What happened was I just decided I was going to get there a little bit earlier. We planned to meet at the 3 o'clock train from Liverpool Street, and I got to Liverpool Street about 1ish, I think. And I said, do you know what?
Whoa, you're telling this story all wrong, mate. Flip it this way. So, Stephen Howson came down for a game of two halves, the Football Republic. I absolutely gave him an absolute beating. He was gutted about that. After the game, went for a beer. We're like, right, I'll meet you at 3:15 at London Liverpool Street on the Friday. I give him a call at 2:30. I'll give him a WhatsApp. Hey Steve, gonna go soon. He's like, I'm at Stansted Airport. Leaving me in disarray, and that's what caused the problems.
Anyway, that's sort of what happened. I got to Liverpool Street and I looked up at the board to see when the trains was leaving for Stansted, and it was a train leaving in 6 minutes, and I went, well, fuck it, I'm getting the train. Because in my opinion, being a good military man, stop telling me to stop swearing, Travis, pull your pants up. This is the Stephen Howson podcast and we fucking swear. Actually, I need to rewind it just a little bit. Sponsored by Tops the Pot. The link is in the description below. Please go and download it. We are giving a PlayStation 4 away on Wednesday, more than likely. It might be Friday, but it's probably Wednesday. So check it out, download it, and the next competition is going to be announced this week, and you guys let us know. We're probably going to have 400 or 500 quid worth of prize to give away. It might be an iPad. It might be a Lamborghini Murcielago. I mean, it's not, but it might be. So download Tops the Pot. The more downloads that we get, the more that we're able to Zeus it up there. Anyway, so yes, it wasn't a lack of communication, Jordan, actually. What happened is, I got to the train station, I saw there was a train in like 6-7 minutes, and I was like, do you know what? I'm getting on the fucking train, because the military man inside me, it's always best to be at your destination ahead of time, rather than wait around for nothing. I was only going to wait around at Liverpool Street. I thought I might as well wait around at Stansted, get everything sorted that I need to get sorted, get through security. Never been at Stansted before, so I thought, let's get through Stansted and see what happens. So I goes through, I gets on the train, I breeze through security in about 31 seconds. I get onto the other side, I sit down, I flip the laptop open, I finish writing my notes that I'm doing for the documentary which I'm finishing filming tomorrow about Leipzig and about Red Bull and how they came about and the club in East Germany and all the rest of that stuff. And then time's ticking on. We're closing at 5:30 was the gate closing time. I get a phone call from Dave at 4:15. Hiya, I'm at a red light. I'm at a red light on the train at Bishop Stortford. And I'm like, all right, okay, no problem. 10 minutes later, Dave kicked me off the train because there's been signal failure. What do I do?
No, it wasn't what I do.
It was what do I do.
Oh, shit.
So I had a quick look, seeing how far away Bishop Stortford is from Stansted. It's not that far, but you're talking like London level traffic, you're talking rush hour on a Friday. I was like, this is bad news all over the place. So then I was like, right, what we're going to do is, Dave said he can't get the Uber app to work, can he use the Uber app for me? So I was like, right, I'll sort the Uber app out for him from this side. So I sent an Uber down to go and get him. He managed to rope in two guys, got jibbed by an American geezer. Was it four in there?
Yeah, we got jibbed by a Spanish dude. Was like, nah, I'm not got Uber me, mate. Not got Uber. He played the card on me. I was like, all right, fair play then, mate. Just get in. And then two of the girls, a girl and a bloke. The girl signed up and split the fare.
Yep.
The fella was like, yeah, I'll do it. accepted it and everything, and it didn't work for on his credit card.
He mustn't have accepted on our end.
I was being a nice guy as well. I was trying to help someone out.
He was helping. He was the good Samaritan Dave. So as I'm waiting for Dave to come, you can see on the Uber app how far away they are and stuff. So I just thought I'll just log in, just see how far away he is. It's like, oh, he's arrived. And then because I knew it was being split, I thought it was being split 3 ways anyway. So I'm looking and thinking, I wonder how much this has cost me actually, because it's on my fucking card. So I'm thinking, how much does this cost me to just bring all these goons to the fucking airport?
Cheers, buddy.
So I'm having a look on my phone and I'm like, cost me 18 quid. I was like, fucking hell, was it a 56 quid taxi? That's the dearest taxi in the fucking world. It was going like 2.5 mile. I was like, alright, okay. Clicks down it and it's got, alright, the woman who I spoke to on the phone, she's split the tab, and I was like, there's only 2 people splitting this fucking tab here.
Absolute, been done.
So some guy, an American guy,
who's English?
Got your phone number.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, give me his phone number on the screen, innit? So, yeah.
WhatsApp him live on the podcast and we'll get a reaction.
Howson the Bad Samaritan. I think you'll find that I managed to bring Dave and 3 other people, 2 of whom didn't fucking pay, to Stansted. So they didn't miss their flight, because who else is going to Stansted at tea time? You know what I'm talking about? So there you go. Yeah, that was the chaos of getting there. And then the flight was a piece of piss apart from that, really. Hour and 10 minutes over. The flights were super cheap, which is why we came over. Literally rude not to. We was in Sector B, which is essentially the Stretford end, the Cop end, the Ultra end. So, you know, we got in there on the Saturday yesterday. We got to the ground nice and early because we thought, you know, we're gonna have a look around. Because I've never been, you can't really find many pictures of the place online. So what we're thinking is get to the ground. We want to do loads of close-up filming of, you know, like Red Bull branded bars, fans walking about, and all the rest of that stuff. And nothing there. We get there at what, 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. Kickoffs
maybe even earlier.
Yeah, kickoffs at 6:30. So we're like, okay, let's get up to the ground. Oh, actually, you can't even get within like what 200 meters of the ground because of the fence all the way around it. And there's nothing branded around it. Nothing branded around it whatsoever. So I'm like, great. So now we're here 4 hours early. It's about -6. How are we gonna film what we need to film when there's nothing to film? So we ended up going to a bar. One good thing that I really like about German football is they've got a soccer Saturday. It's called Super Sonntag, which is essentially Super Saturday. So we goes to watch Super Saturday, and unlike, they don't have a Jeff Stelling character that sits there, they have some woman and an ex-player in there, and they just show highlights of the games that are going on at 3 o'clock. So all of the 3 o'clock Bundesliga games, it's switching through them. Like there's probably 7 or 8 matches played at that time. So you get to watch. So we watched, like, you know, Dortmund was on there, Hamburg was on there, all of the games was on there, and it was great. Standing in a pub, having a couple of beers, watching the highlights as it just flicks all the way through the different games. So it was interesting. Really enjoyed that. German lager's fantastic, great beer, really enjoyable beer. The only problem that I've found since I've come over here is, and I can't remember when the smoking ban came into effect in England. I was talking today about this earlier.
You soft, mate.
Well, obviously I've got a chest infection anyway, which has killed me all week. And it's been pretty grim while I've been here as well, especially with the weather and that. But going into the bars, smoking's still in the bars. The first bar that we walked into was a proper dive bar as well, and the smoke was just hanging at like eye level as you walked in. I nearly threw up as I walked into the bar. Couldn't breathe. Went into another bar. It wasn't so bad in the next bar, but you know, that's the thing that you pay, innit? I mean, I used to work in a bar in Manchester and I hated it, and I remember that feeling. It like sticks to your skin, the smell of smoke and all the rest of it. Such a good thing that we've got in the UK with no smoking and all the rest of it. Harry says, what's my view on the Bundesliga quality? I think it's very good quality. There's a real connection between the fans and the players, which is something that you don't get in the Premier League. It is a high quality as a standard across the board in the league. What Leipzig are doing is very reminiscent of what happened with Leicester in the UK last year. So it's interesting what's happening with them, and it's not as strong across the board. Obviously, the Premier League is a stronger league right across the board, but there's some serious talent in Germany. If you look at some of the players that are smashing it up in England at the moment, have come from Bundesliga. So Simon says, how much was a ticket to a Bundesliga game? Now I've got a story to tell you on this one as well, right? Because it's €15 for the Euro end for the Ultras end that we was in. But did I pay €15? No. €75 is what we got charged for that legalised touting bullshit via GoGo. I don't understand how they get away with it, right? They listed the price as 44 quid or 46 quid. And you go, do you know what? I'll pay that, that's alright. Clicks on that, let's pay it. You get all the way through to the end. £20 per ticket booking fee. What? £20 per booking fee per ticket. Fucking scandalous. Legalised touting. More, nearly double what that actual ticket is meant to have cost. And like I said, it's a standing section anyway, so it's not like you get a seat. But we did have a good view. It was in the end with all the Leipzig ultras. And it's I thought it would be a very plastic atmosphere. I actually didn't think it would feel very authentic. This is a 7-8-year-old club that's that's looking, how they amassed such a fan base and such a culture in the stadium and all the rest of it. But they have, and it's interesting to see it, and it feels authentic. It didn't feel plastic. Do you know when you've seen, even when they announced the Sir Bobby Charlton stand naming at Old Trafford and they give everyone one of those little red flags, it feels plastic. It doesn't feel authentic. And one thing that you have to say that looks decent at Anfield is that Liverpool have allowed that culture to amass in the Kop end, and it looks good and it feels, excuse me, it feels authentic at least. It felt authentic. It was a massive tifo which covered the entire stand for the Leipzig end, and then there was flags. If you've checked the vlog out that we uploaded earlier today, the flags was just going. There was maybe a dozen flags that was just going in our end for the entire game. What was weird, and one thing that I'll say to back the Premier League up, because the Premier League gets a lot of shit all the time, is that the atmosphere in the Premier League is not as bad as people make it out to be. I mean, maybe I'm swayed here because I'm a United fan and it seems to be everyone's biggest game when we go there. And Old Trafford being the size that it is. I might need you to talk in a minute because I'm going to fucking die. But as good as the atmosphere was, and it was constant singing, there was guys at the front sorting everything out, but it didn't really bang. When the goals went in, it was kind of muted, and it never really peaked. Old Trafford, when a goal goes in, is like an earthquake. It wasn't loud. They were singing, they was jumping up and down, but me and Dave could talk to each other throughout the entire thing. There was no point where, there's times, I sit with my old man, there's times when I have to shout to my old man in his ear in Stretford End Tier 2. There was nothing like that. I'm going to have to put you on, Dave, because I can't speak.
But no, I think on the atmosphere, it was quite interesting. There was, it was very German in its way, where before the game there was a tifo that went over our head. That was quite interesting. So there was a big banner that came over the home end that we were in, and obviously came across and knocking on it, singing songs, and it was quite nice. But it was very different to England. England is more about the player, more about, I don't know, it is a little bit louder, but it's very different. Obviously Germany, very drum based, very based with one guy that's jumping on the mic, that's getting everyone involved. But it was interesting to see the different cultures. I've been to German games before, I've been to Hertha Berlin before, and it was similar. Where the home end, it felt like it went off, but it didn't go off to a certain level that you go off in England, for example. You see Liverpool, United, Chelsea, whoever, any English team, when a goal goes in, it goes mental.
There was no buzz. There's like a buzz at Old Trafford, there's like a sort of noise.
What song are they playing? So the first goal goes in, they score a goal, everyone goes off for 5 seconds, and it's going, I feel good, that I know that you would now, and it's like, they just scored a goal. Surely it should be like a bit of a nuts chant, or I don't know. What do you think, Howson? It should be more angry, more aggressive than I feel good, I feel great. Not for me, mate.
Maybe that's the plastic element of Leipzig coming in, because they are. 1 second, there's a couple of nice questions there that I think
we can address.
Yeah, that we can talk about. I do think you're right in terms of the angry side of things. I don't even think they play music at Old Trafford. I wouldn't hear it if they did. They don't. I'm pretty sure we don't. No, I think Alan Keegan just shouts goal scored by Wayne Rooney.
It's seen as a plastic thing.
Yeah.
It seems like we can play music after they score, and it's seen as a negative factor.
But that shows you how loud Old Trafford gets. I don't even know that there's music or not at Old Trafford, and I've been going for 27 years. And I don't know if you play music or not. There was a question a second ago, should United have a singing section? Whoops.
Something to find it.
Do I think Old Trafford should have a singing section and give the stadium a better atmosphere? We have a singing section.
It's not big enough.
One, it's not big enough, but I don't just think it's a size thing. I think it's an attitude thing. I think there's I think the unallocated seating part of away games is why it generates such noise. I've never gone into an away game and gone, well, my ticket says I'm over here, so I'll see you lads at half time then, ladies.
What do we do at Wembley?
Oh yeah, you went, where's yours? Sweet, yeah.
I went to sit with you, mate. And then the second half, what do we do? Second half, we just
was
went
like,
on the
that,
whole ground.
that looks like it'll be a better view, let's get in there. That's what happens. That's what happens at away games. We move to where we think is going to be better. And I think there needs to be an element of that. And actually, there was an element of that yesterday. We was in the standing section, and it was unallocated seating. Actually, I think the ticket... I used Google Glass to translate what the fuck it said on my ticket because we wasn't sure what it was saying. It said Sector B, and then I think it said free nut. And that, I think, translates to, like, fucking stand where you want, lads. So we basically just, you walk along until you find a seat that's empty or a couple of seats that's empty, and then you're happy days. I think safe standing is a good thing to bring into British football, but it's not going to fix atmospheres on its own. I think you've got to change the attitude to people to what happens in safe standing. I think you've got to change the attitudes to people of what happens in those sections. I think you've got to change the attitude to people about flags and about singing. And ultimately, there's a part in the vlog from earlier that I uploaded that someone just said, should we eradicate all allocated seating? No, we shouldn't, but I think behind the goals you could certainly have a couple of areas because it would encourage a certain type of fan to go in there. The younger, the more energetic fans would want to go behind the goal and have a bit of a balloon, and I think you need that. There's obviously, 60, 70-year-old people that go to the game and they're not going to jump up and down and all the rest of it. So if they're not going to jump up and down, they shouldn't have to go in behind the goal. They've got every right to be at the ground as much as anybody else has. So, they want to sit along the long sides. That's fair enough.
I think in terms of the singing section, it was quite interesting is when we went to Celtic, where they...
Are we back? Is it back? Everyone's just writing RIP. Hopefully in the next few seconds it'll be back on. Just let me know if it's back on or not. Everyone's just writing RIP. I didn't die. I feel like I'm dying. We're back on? Yep, we're back. Okay, so we're back. Yeah, so I think it's more of an attitude thing that you need to have when you go into the singing sections and stuff like that. Because yes, at Celtic, their singing
Let's
section...
go back and address the question. So what they asked before we dropped off, it was, do United need a singing section?
No, United have a singing section. Yeah. United need an unallocated section. And I think you
standing section.
Essentially, yeah. I think you could do it as the very lower parts of Stretford End and K Stand, K lower and Stretford lower. And you could make those... How many rows is it? P. So you're looking at maybe 18, 19 rows. I think it goes back to row P or Q. There's probably maybe 22 rows, 22 rows. So I think if you... Oh yeah, we lost about 100... We lost about half the people that was on the stream. So if everyone can tweet it, then I'd really appreciate that. Let's try and get as many of us on back here. What internet are we using? I think this predates dial-up.
Aldi.
Here, unfortunately. Yeah, it's Aldi. Straight Aldi branded internet. So please share and let's get as many people back in here as possible. So yeah, I do think safe standing, but it's more of an attitude thing because people obviously already stand in J stand. People stand in Stretford End tier 2. And United also need to relax the rules a little bit because some of the best things that we've seen is the banners and the flags that are allowed to be at some of these stadiums around the world, and that makes a massive difference in it. Oh, that's what I was going to say. That was the point I was going to make. Is at the front of the singing section, the standing section, at the front of the sector B where we was, there was two guys on mics. There was one guy with a megaphone and there was one guy on a drum who didn't watch the fucking word of the match. And I said to Dave, it'd be great to interview him after the game and say, oh, who was your man of the match? He was like, oh, fucking don't know, mate. I'll just twatting me drum like that for an hour and a half. But the problem was the attitude of United fans and probably British fans in general. Everyone would hate that guy that sits at the front with his drum. Everyone would hate that guy that has the microphone. And everyone would hate that guy with the megaphone. Like, who the fucking hell's he? So it'd be a brave person that wanted to get up in front of all them guys and be the drum guy or be the what's it guy. I'd be interested to find out what the likes of the other Crystal Palace fans think. And I don't think Crystal Palace should be called Crystal Palace Ultras, and I don't think the Celtic fans calling themselves Ultras. I mean, where was we? Celtic played at City, didn't they, a couple of weeks ago, or just before Christmas. And there was a couple of like 11-year-old kids with Celtic Ultra beanie hats, and I was like, well, You're not fucking scaring me, lads. Like, what's the crack here with the ultras and that? So, I think there's definitely an attitude change. There's no right or wrong way to watch a football match ultimately, but atmosphere needs to be organic, is the bottom line, I would say. I think the club can do a lot by creating areas where fans basically get to do what they want, but then it's who decides what fans want. Who is the voice of the fans? Because it's not me, and it's not anyone that runs a fucking fan channel. Is it anyone that runs any of the fan organisations? Who can honestly say that they speak for United fans? Supposedly 600 million people? No one can fucking speak for all them fans, can they? Nobody. So it's a difficult job that not many people want to do. Unfortunately, I think that's just one of those things. Right, we've got a couple of questions, so me and Dave will try our best to answer some questions. If you want to start getting your questions in, we'll get ready to answer them. In the meantime, please share the video. We're not quite back up to what we was before the video decided to crap out on us. Dave's editing away on his vlog, so make sure you go and subscribe. His link is in the description below. It looks like it might have died again. You just put your Wi-Fi on, you cunt.
No, it's not on, man. Literally just, it's completely off.
At Statman, do you think United need to buy someone to replace Rooney when he leaves, or can we bring in a youth player?
I think elite forward. Wayne Rooney showed with his 250th goal for Manchester United that he's an elite forward that has played at United for a long time. I think if you're replacing Wayne Rooney, I think you've got to go big. I think you've got to spend a bit of cash. And someone like Antoine Griezmann would be perfect in terms of his flexibility as a forward. Could play number 10, could play on the left, could play on the right, and even could play as a striker. So for me, would be the perfect man to replace Rooney and use that wage budget that we've kind of seen a little bit wasted in the last few years. Wayne Rooney's impact at United, but scored important goals this season, got some very important assists, so he's not done a poor job this year.
I'm going to ask you a question, David, and I'm going to say...
Don't you dare.
Tell me how these two players would work in our current system if they was inserted into it next weekend. Firstly, Griezmann, because you're talking about Griezmann.
Yeah.
Secondly, Lukaku.
So Lukaku would have to obviously be a replacement for Zlatan.
Yeah, and I like that straight. It's almost a straight swap.
Yeah, it's a straight swap, but Lukaku, in terms of what he is, he has the build of a target man, but he doesn't quite play as a target man. Plays more of a poacher. Plays someone that is on the last man, that's half decent with the ball at his feet, but very much is a goal scorer. Doesn't get really involved with your press and isn't as good as you'd expect a target man would be on the ball. So yeah, it would be straight in there as a sort of a poacher in there, which potentially wouldn't work too well with Antoine Griezmann if he were thrown into the same side. Griezmann plays well with a target man type striker. Your Mario Mandzukic, Atletico Madrid, was so perfect how he'd flick it on, Griezmann would go. Time and time again I spoke about that. You look at Olivier Giroud at the Euro as well, the combination play between Pogba, then to Griezmann and then to Giroud really worked out. So Villa United need a target man more than Lukaku, and Lukaku, although he's built like a target man, for me plays more like a number 9 on the last man. In terms of how they'd fit in the side, United obviously would have to change their system to a 4-2-3-1. I'd still love to see Paul Pogba in there, still love to see Ander Herrera, but that balance would need to be worked on. I thought Ander Herrera was good and bad at number 6. I thought he's a better number 8, we all know that, he's better being that aggressive guy. So again, playing with Paul Pogba in central midfield would be difficult, but two very, very talented players that are going to have to evolve those games. So maybe it's not difficult, it's not impossible.
A couple of people asking here, are we resting players ahead of Thursday, do you think? And is that possibly why Carrick didn't play this Saturday?
No.
I think that might be a fair point. Mourinho definitely favours the League Cup and stuff like that. I couldn't say. He has mixed up the team of late. Do you think he'll rest Zlatan for it? I think Zlatan would likely be rested. I think you might see Wayne Rooney start as a number 9, but Carrick brought back into the team, and then everything else fairly strong. Someone just mentioned there, sorry I didn't catch the name, can you see us updating the stadium or upgrading the stadium to 100,000?
You could do, definitely. I think it's just where, right? We've seen the what was it, Sir Alex Ferguson time? What was it called before the Sir Alex Ferguson time?
North Stand.
The North Stand, yeah, the North Stand. The atmosphere there sometimes absolutely atrocious. I've been there a few times. I think the Olympique Marseille, we played in maybe the Champions League, and been told to stop singing by certain people, so the atmosphere is dead there. If they were to, build a
trip up over fucking megastore bags from the North Stand.
Exactly. Yeah, like what are you doing? But in terms of the Stretford end, if you were to try and improve the capacity of the tier 2, that'd be sick, right? That's where every United fan wants to sit. They can get that bigger. That's great for everybody.
I think tier 2 would really echo a lot round a lot as well, especially if they manage
it's
that.
how you do it, because obviously it's quite like, it's roofed.
Yeah.
Could you widen it a little bit? Because you've obviously got the quadrants as well, so it doesn't
you
become an architectural problem.
Mate, we live in a world where there's a skyscraper in Dubai which is like a literal mile high, near enough. So we can fucking get over that train line, not a problem. I'm sure we can. I'm positive we can.
Positive.
Mate, if we can send trains under the sea to France, we can send them 200 metres alongside the back of South Stand, can't we?
Right.
Fucking come on.
Or we could do a Leipzig and dig under.
Yeah.
Drop the pitch.
That's a strange one, actually. Yeah, while we're in Leipzig, you talk about that. Leipzig apparently was built on the grounds of an old stadium. That's been a while. That's been there a while, prior to what they built for the 2006 World Cup. The picture that, if you see my Instagram, you'll see a picture that we've thrown up, and I said, I'm not sure if stadium or office block. That's like at ground level. And the stadium's in a hill. So you go up a hill and then there's like a bowl which scoops down, and then there's these bridges, concrete bridges that go into the stadium. It's a fucking weird sort of setup, innit? What do I think of Rooney's goal yesterday? It was a phenomenal goal. People think that I hate Wayne Rooney. I do not hate Wayne Rooney. I just don't think
you can say pajamas, mate.
Concrete legend. And I think that is it. There's no more of anything else than that. I rate Rooney's contribution to his Manchester United career very, very highly, but I cherish the word legend, and I don't know if someone who has shown the desire to leave the club, and the same will go for David De Gea, even if he stays, I don't know if someone who's shown that desire and hasn't really connected with the fans the way Wayne Rooney hasn't can be classified as a legend. I think the legend needs to be an almost unattainable pinnacle. I don't think we're like Manchester City, where we can say anyone who played more than 25 games for us is a legend. Sean Goater might be a Manchester City legend, but I don't even know if you'd class him as a former United player. He's not done nothing. I think Wayne Rooney, for a period of time from like 2005 to 2009-10, was a fucking unbelievable force of nature, and one of the favourite players I've ever seen playing a United shirt. My rating of his status as a legend has got nothing to do with his ability on the pitch right now, because I don't think that matters. I think what matters is your connection with the fans and the success that you have at the club. He absolutely fucking ticks all the boxes for getting the record and the success he's had at the club, but there's the connection with the fans and his love for the club. I think there's still a question mark, and if you see, it's not a statistics thing, it's not a check-boxing thing. You can't just say, oh, he's the record this, so he definitely gets that. It's nothing to do with his decline on the pitch. And it's if you look at like the Liverpool preview and stuff like this, I think he's still got a lot of use in this squad. He's just not a first team member, and I think that's it. He's a legend as an English footballer, not as a United. Here's the thing: this debate will, and undoubtedly will fucking carry on forever, because there is no right or wrong answer, and that's the top and bottom of it. If you look at a lot of old school, dyed-in-the-wool, match-going Reds, they say, not a legend. And that's their opinion. I see a lot of people who've grown up with a guy who go, absolute legend. Fair enough. No, I don't even think Cantona's a legend. Cantona's my favourite footballer of all time, and I would say he's not a Manchester United legend. There's like, I think United have got like 4 or 5 tops. As for people saying Rooney, and here's the definition as well. I saw someone on fucking radio saying that, it was Alan Green, Rooney deserves to be the 4th one on the Trinity. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Legends should be reserved for those. If you're worthy of a statue, I think you can say you are worthy of being called a legend. Which means that I think potentially Giggs and Scholes. And then maybe that's it. Let's move off. Let's move off this anyway. And obviously Darren Fletcher. Yeah. We're not talking about that. He doesn't want to talk about a certain Irish footballer.
No,
does our Dave? He wants to avoid that shitstorm. Right. Any more questions that aren't revolving around Rooney's legend status? I don't want to bring the guy down when he just broke the record. Rooney is a massive part of my Manchester United life. He's been there 12 years while I've been watching most of my adult life. Wayne Rooney's fucking great, but let's leave it at that. Premier League or La Liga, and why is it even close? Both different leagues with different qualities, I think. Do I think Chelsea will fuck it up sooner or later? I think they will, but I think they're still too far ahead that it's going to affect them. What do you reckon?
Yeah, Costa started today. That's not a great sign. That seems like he's back in the Conte, the mentality and so forth. Maybe the transfer being the summer to China or wherever it is. So unfortunately for United, that's bad news that he started today and obviously scored. Did he score? No, he assisted. I think he assisted a goal or scored a goal, whichever.
Someone just said, "Can I please explain the chant? What chant are you talking about?" Prakash says, "Is Pogba trying too hard?" Maybe. Any papers that I read, I didn't see the name, sorry, it went a little bit too fast. I like The Guardian for its football analysis, it's very good, but you can get it all online. It's poor, it's hard work reading a paper nowadays, really, when you can get it all online. Sean Goss, ball to win the game was fire. Yes, Sean Goss's ball to win at Anfield was spectacular. And now he thinks he's 10 men because he's got a 95 rated player on FIFA of himself, and he's beating everyone on FIFA, which I think is very unfair. Harris says, I believe Sean Goss could be the Carrick replacement. Yeah, for all those that have been asking, my Carrick video got a copyright strike on it, which was an unfair copyright strike, and obviously I'm biased, but it was an unfair copyright strike because the clips I'd used were covered under fair use. I can't upload the second video, and I'm not even filming the second video until that gets recovered, because if I upload another one, I get 2 strikes on the channel. It means I can't go live, so I can't risk it. I have to be towing the line very carefully with excuse me, this fucking cough's doing my head in, with the copyright strikes and all that lot. So once that gets fixed, which I believe is Tuesday or Wednesday, then I'll sort it. Dwayne says, would you try and watch a game in China? I was talking about that with Dave actually about an hour ago. Flights to China are about 300 quid. It's probably a little bit out of our reach for the next couple of months.
Oh, not if we get some donations, we'll go wherever they want.
But if you get me to 100,000, I will go to China and make a video with Dave talking about what the Chinese... I mean, I really want to do it anyway. I really want to do it. I want to go to China and explain what the Chinese Super League is, who the main players are, speak to some fans on the ground in China, because no one's doing this. There is nobody doing this. I will fucking go for you. Not a problem. No one is telling you what's happening on the ground. All you're hearing is Chinese are offering this sort of money for this guy. Chinese are offering this sort of money for this guy. But what does this mean? What's the league like? What's the standard of football like out there? What's the standard of coaching like out there? What's the standard of tactical play like out there? We haven't a fucking clue. Have you seen a minute of the Chinese Super League?
It's not started, you muppet.
No, but have you seen last season?
Yeah. I used to obviously work for Squawker as a product manager, so one of the products that I was managing was the live score module. So the only games you could test during the day were the Chinese games. So we got on the team, I can't remember what they're called, the team that Joe Ramirez and Teixeira play for. They were pretty decent. They were good. But I watched a little bit. Those players stand out by a country mile. They really do. It's quite interesting that it'd be great to see more talent in that league and Chinese players getting up to that standard. It's going to get into it a bit more, I think.
It is interesting, and it's good for football that you can have 3 centres, or maybe more eventually as well. It'd be great with. It will be great if South American football, the Argentinian league and Brazilian national leagues, they look like they're getting a little bit stronger. They look like they're getting a bit more TV money. That's good for the game. MLS is obviously awash with money, and it is becoming a big player in sport in America with natural Americans. That's a good thing for the sport. And ultimately what happens in China is going to be good for the sport as well. I think if players have got an option, then you're going to see a spread of it all over the place. My video with my granddad is hopefully going to be next week, and then the week after. There's going to be 2, and they're going to be spread out over a couple of days. Am I going on Thursday? I'm not going on Thursday. I'll be watching at home. As Borthwick Jackson returned from Wolves, not that I know of. Can I please explain the chant, Fergie's right, your fans are shy? No, I've not heard that one. We sing it about the refs. It's people just fucking doing what they're looking. Anyone that I think RB Leipzig should be looking at buying, I think they've got a great scouting network. I don't know about you, Dave.
Oh, it's dirty.
They pick up some great talents. Their philosophy of, you can think about all the shit that they do in terms of the commercial aspects of the club. I think that's overplayed a little bit. But if you look at what they do from a scouting perspective, they're bringing in young, hungry players, and they know that they're a stepping stone, and I think they're selling themselves as a stepping stone. They're bringing players in, they're giving them top-level experience now that they're in the Bundesliga. Probably going to see them all get rinsed by Bayern Munich, in all honesty, that's the way the German league goes. New World Cup model, good or bad? 48 teams, Dave.
I don't want to talk about it.
I think it's lowering the quality enormously. It's the World Cup final, it's meant to be a pinnacle.
If we're gonna live by the dreams, it puts more money into countries that are not going to get the same amount of cash if they're not in the tournament.
Well, why don't you have all 200 come and compete?
Unfortunately, that money's not going to go to the right places. It's not going to go to the pitches. For the young players, it's not going to go into their development. It's not going to go into the coaching system. It's going to go in the pockets of people that it shouldn't go to, and unfortunately that is what the extended tournament will do. There'll be more money from Coca-Cola going everywhere, more money from McDonald's going into the wrong hands, and unfortunately that's a sad thing. And as well, we saw the quality of the Euros massively drop because of more teams, and that's what will happen with the World Cup.
Yep.
So you might as well not watch the first part and just wait till the last 16 or the last 8 and then
that's what's going to happen. It's going to turn out like the way the World Cup qualifiers are at the moment, where you might watch the national team.
What's the point of World Cup qualifying?
Yeah. There's going to be so many teams qualify, yeah. You've killed the qualifiers, and now you've killed the first round of it. No one's going to tune in for that first round. There was a question a second ago. Was there any players that impressed you for Leipzig or Frankfurt? I'm going to let Dave start.
Well, Nabil Keita, very, 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 very good for Leipzig. In terms of what they do this season, Forsberg is the key man in the creative sense. More assists than any player in the Bundesliga, but he was suspended, obviously picked up a red card against Bayern Munich. I was pretty upset. I forgot that happened before the winter break, and I was expecting to see him. But Keita stepped in on the left wing, has been playing at central midfield. But what he did on the left hand side was the same thing Forsberg did in terms of drifting into number 10 and creating from that area. But he was so good on the ball. So I've never seen him live, and I think when you watch a player live, you get a lot more in terms of what he's doing, in terms of the passes he plays, and in terms of him being on the left hand side instead of central midfield. Sometimes he frustrates me on the ball when he's in central midfield. He's racking like a 73-75% pass accuracy, which isn't really good for a central midfielder. But if you're playing him in an attacking area where he's consistently playing through balls to the likes of Timo Werner, the likes of Jonas Poulsen, who are very energetic and run the channels well, got a great player there. And the second goal really sums up his evening in terms of what he did. Picked the ball up. I think he nicked it off actually the Frankfurt defence in the final third. Dribbled past 2 players, got brought down, and whipped in a brilliant ball for Timo Werner, and they got scored the goal. Very, very impressed.
And I would echo that. I thought Keita was fantastic, a real engine in the midfield. I said to you there was shades of Kante about the way he played.
I agree in terms of the way he wins it's like he's Kante-esque in the way he wins the ball back, but I think he's got more than Kante in terms of an attacking sense. I get the comparison in terms of how he intercepts and how he tackles. It's the way he covers ground as well.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
He's everywhere, but then he's also got it going forward. So I'd say he's a player that could definitely has a higher ceiling than Kante.
I think he's probably not as good defensively, but he's infinitely better than Kante going forward. There was a question that I wanted to ask. Someone keeps asking about, are we on Skype? We are on Skype, but our Skypes aren't public, so I don't know why you're asking about the Skypes. It's a strange one. Jordan, I don't know why you keep asking. I am on Skype. Of course I'm on Skype. We use Skype all the time. It's a wonderful free app. Dave says email him.
Yeah, find me email on my Twitter account.
Apparently you're a nerd, Dave. I don't know how that's news to anyone.
I got a maths and stats degree, mate. Of course.
Yeah, he's got a maths and stats degree.
That's
absolute nerd. I mean, I think he wears that as a badge of honour. Let's keep finding some decent questions, because I have seen some coming through. There's just a lot of them coming through. Snapchat Q&A probably be back this Friday. If my voice recovers. My wife's had this fucking virus for a while now, so it seems like it does linger on a little bit. Thoughts on the City and Tottenham game? I've not seen any of it, so I can't really comment. Gerrard or Pogba, get out. What sort of question is that? Liverpool collapsing? No, I don't think they're collapsing. I think what you're seeing is a little bit of what everyone sort of expected. It's a thin squad, and you take a couple of players out of that squad and you're going to have problems, because I don't think it's as strong as their league position suggests, but they've put up some decent numbers so far, and they don't have Europe to worry about, so they might be a threat for everybody going into the latter stages of the season. Someone to definitely keep an eye on. Hopefully United can overtake City. There's no league games now for a bit because of the FA Cup, but hopefully when that's back in action, let's see what we can do.
I just done something brilliant in the cut. So me and Howson were filming a little free talking points for my channel. I did something really, really stupid in the cut. So I tried to cover the camera lens to see the video out, and you can see Howson's face is poking through. So I've pretty much covered a little bit of the camera, then I've got a little hole, and Howson's face is sticking through. What an idiot. Anyway, sorry guys.
Dave, stat nerd, shit idea. Is Pep Guardiola overrated? Yes.
No.
What is my Snapchat? All my social media is the same. It's Mr. Stephen Howson. Harry says, is Chong as good as they say they are? He's looking good at the moment, yeah. See how the rest of the season goes for him. And what do I think of Andreas Pereira scored a mint free kick yesterday? I've not seen that actually yet.
No. Unclassic. It was a free kick that was sort of below the wall. I prefer, Rooney's free kick was a lot better. Obviously, the ones over the top look a lot better, but it was intelligent. He is improving at Granada.
I think he's having a good old time at Granada, and that's what you want players to do when they're on loan. It's no